Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy See Through the Script, and today this video is going to be addressing a question that I often get surrounding this content, being what are these rituals actually done for? And in this video I'm going to do my best to answer that question. However, before I do answer that question, we need to understand more about something that's called emotional energy harvesting. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to discern why these rituals are important to harvesting your energy and the importance of your energy within humans in the first place. Now, with some help of the authors Clinton Ober, Stephen T. Sinatra, and Martin Zucker, and their book titled Earthing, the Most Important Health Discovery Ever, I gathered some interesting perspectives, and I just want to paraphrase some of their writings. The authors go on to suggest that the world is an electrical planet and we are electrical beings. Thus, well before the Industrial Revolution and many advancements of modern technology on all levels, from clothing, beds, vehicles, etc., humans had a much greater connection to the earth. Granted, there was a lot more skin-to-earth contact. They go on to give the examples of sleeping on the floor and walking on the ground with our bare feet, both of those actions garnering the natural connections between the human and nature. That being said, we as humans have been gradually shifting away from our natural connection to the earth via societal standards that were put into place prior to most of us being born. Again, going back to the example of us wearing insulated shoes, which prevent our feet from experiencing the energetic pulse that radiates through the nerves in our feet as we are connected to the earth. Now, stepping away from the book for a second, in my own opinion, truly the earth is constantly sending off energy and frequencies that we as humans is our duty to pick up on and move accordingly. Unfortunately, this field of study is not practiced to a great degree due to a lack of scientific evidence to support findings that energy between humans and the earth is beneficial to each other when merged properly. To further explain my personal belief, what I'm getting at is that the authorities and powers that shouldn't be are well aware of the natural energies the earth exerts and how much of a positive change it can bring to one's life. This meaning the earth and humans need very little intervention of man, as we were made to live in pure harmony with the natural resources we were provided, thus not relying on outside resources to provide modified substitutes for what we already have in abundance. However, if man left it this way, then man would not benefit off of us. Allow me to put it to you like this: if we just walked on our bare feet and slept on the floor instead of wearing shoes and sleeping on insulated mattresses, our connection to the earth would be through the roof due to minimal interference of man-made goods over a sustained period of time. To avoid us, the common folk, from experiencing that connection to the earth, they, the powers that shouldn't be, have created resources that were made to trick us into believing they were a necessity for a plethora of reasons, some more logical than others. But ultimately, when you think of shoes, most of us end up replacing them quite often, which leads to increased human waste, but also puts our money into the hands of the very corporations that sold us this concept. And no, I'm not saying shoes are completely irrelevant, as I understand there are climates around the world that don't permit one to always walk around in bare feet. However, the main importance behind this example stems from the very purpose of how our feet are meant to touch the ground. The problem with nearly all footwear is that it blocks this natural gate. Most footwear laterally restricts the forefoot enough to keep it from spreading out the way it needs to in order to make that grasping motion. In addition, most footwear has at least slightly elevated heels, and many also have upsweep to the toe. This means that the ball of the foot is lower than the heel and often the toes. This position also effectively blocks any grasping motion in the forefoot. Where the foot loses that activity at the front end, it will inevitably begin to deteriorate. Over time, the wearing of shoes can lead to troubles in one's knees, and then those lead to your hips and spine as it all interconnects. On top of all of that, our soles aren't even touching the actual ground, rather an insulated synthetic cushion, again blocking the natural pulsating energy from the earth to the nerves in our feet. Now, briefly, let me point out the word sole for a second. Spell S-O-L-E. The root definition states bottom of the foot, technically the planta, corresponding to the palm of the hand. Century Dictionary. Early 14th century from Old French, sole, again S-O-L-E, from Vulgar Latin, sola, from Latin solia, aka sandal, bottom of a shoe, a flat fish, from solum, bottom, ground, foundation, lowest point of things, hence sole of the foot. Think about it in relation to it being the foundation, your soul, S-O-L-E. Then just think about how foundational your soul is, S-O-U-L, regarding one's ability to reason, feel, think, etc. If your soul is being tainted, aka wearing these shoes, preventing you from getting the natural energy from the earth, this energy will affect your legitimate soul, S-O-U-L. You get what I'm trying to say? Simply put, we're not only losing our energy by wearing these products, but we have to exert our energy at jobs just to be able to purchase these products that ultimately detach us in the end. Now, for another great example of the Earth's energy and its strength it provides, we must look into some Greek mythology. This is from the book we discussed earlier titled Earthing, the Most Important Health Discovery Ever, which I recommend reading yourself to garner a better understanding of their research. However, it states, the Greeks surely knew something about this concept. Hercules, one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology, fought and defeated the giant Antaeus, who was renowned as a great wrestler. As the story goes, Antaeus was invincible as long as his feet remained in contact with the earth, from where he drew his strength. He had never been defeated. Hercules, knowing Antaeus' secret, lifts the giant off of the ground and strangles him to death. I find this example to be very powerful in displaying the relevance surrounding energy and what the earth provided to Antaeus when connected to it. My point being, are we Antaeus when properly connected to the earth, meaning we are strong-willed and powerful, and just maybe the powers that shouldn't be are actually Hercules, the ones who know our secret strength and strive to take that away from us? But that's just one way to look at it, right? Alright, so when you factor all this in relation to how mainstream media is using their mass tools of communication, that being radio, TV, internet, print, to push narratives that ultimately trigger our emotions, this emotion is transferred into either positive or more likely negative energy, aka vibrations. The ultimate purpose of emotional energy harvesting is to affect someone consistently for a long period of time, which in turn will hurt this individual's mental, physical, and spiritual health. When all three of these elements of a man or a woman is torn down, it leaves them vulnerable and empty, becoming void of any thought of their own, only exerting energy when told and not upon free will. This is the purpose of emotional energy harvesting, to my understanding. In all facets of our life, we are being drained of our precious energy from what we consume on our leisure, being TV, music, books, to our education, political views, personal relationships, business relationships, work. It's all tasks that require our energy. The goals of the powers that shouldn't be is to keep us entrenched in a capitalistic society that breeds very little products of longevity, rather stuff that must be replaced and upgraded, resulting in the cycle of create, distribute, and sell over and over. This in turn keeps us doing these low vibrational tasks, aka jobs. As time goes on, we are seeing skills that were done by humans over long periods of time, for example farming, are being replaced by AI and big factories for a while now, taking away the labor of love from the task. It's important we become aware of how our energy is being manipulated through daily ritual broadcasting done before our very eyes. Let's take the example of war. With the help of the author Karef Avenite in her book The Use of Trauma Hormones for Emotional Energy Harvesting, I'm going to paraphrase, but she goes on to explain there are places in the earth considered trauma zones due to specific events that have happened there at one point in time. That being said, people born in these areas are physically and spiritually connected to the energy these trauma zones exert. Now, understanding that if war is to occur again within these trauma zones, or even talk of war is to occur, it leads to emotional frustration and low energy exerted to the people of the land, which again goes back to how this bad energy affects one's health in the long run. Now, another less extreme example of emotional energy harvesting would be music. Depending on the theme of the music, it can affect your energy. Sad music can bring your energy levels down, or even have you deep into your emotions, frustrating yourself over imaginary scenarios, or vice versa. Listening to an uplifting song could have you motivated or even relaxed. Same goes for television, novels, you name it. They affect you in similar ways. Now, I want to transition into the aspect of energy and the concepts of the 7 chakras, as well as incorporate some Gematria and numerology into the presentation. When most people think of the human body and energy, they do think of the concept of the chakras. To briefly explain, for those not aware, chakra means wheel and refers to the energy points in your body. They are taught to be spinning disc of energy that should stay open and aligned, as they correspond to bundles of nerves, major organs, and areas of our energetic body that affect our emotional and physical well-being. There are 7 chakras and each serves a specific purpose. However, I want to focus on 3 of them in specific. First being the 4th and the 7th chakra, which are your heart as the 4th and your crown as the 7th. And as I had previously discussed, how through mass forms of programming we are consumed by, with the intent to drain us, attempts to put our minds through an emotional roller coaster, and those without the ability to discern lies from truth will fall victim to the programming. Now let's use the example of the news discussing the tragedy that is sex trafficking. Often we hear these sad stories of young children being abused or even worse, killed in brutal sex rings all over the world. And more than likely, we never hear about the justice side of these stories, which leads our minds to drift, drumming up the worst possible scenarios in our heads. Now, for the average human, this would definitely pull on your heartstrings. But remember, what pulls on your heart will tug away at the mind. Essentially, while one consumes negative news, it attacks your 4th and 7th chakras. Better yet, you are experiencing emotional energy harvesting. What's interesting though is that in Gematria, the word news equal 47. But notice when you spell out the phrase heart and mind, it also equals 47. Like how the news is attacking your 4th and 7th chakra being your heart and mind. Now, as I stated earlier, once they have programmed a person for long enough, this individual becomes extremely passive to the point where they are willing to obey rules and social constructs mindlessly. Interestingly enough, the word obey in Gematria also equals 47. Words like government, authority also equal 47 as well. Now, when it comes to the 6th chakra that is considered your 3rd eye, some say that when open, the 3rd eye can provide wisdom and insight as well as deepen your spiritual connection. What's fascinating about the 7 chakras is that they are connected to our 7 planets. And one planet that we discuss a lot on my channel is the planet Saturn, which is the Roman god of time and death, but in other cultures, Saturn is seen as a planet encompassing wisdom. Now take this in. Saturn is the 6th planet in our orbit, and for those not aware, each day of our week is named after a planet, and the 6th day of the week so happens to be named after Saturn, being Saturday. Now to add to the 6s in relation to the chakras, the 6th chakra is associated with the planet Saturn. Why that is? Well, Saturn relates to the 3rd eye. When our Saturn is working well, we're able to think clearly and with great insights. The key message is I see. Saturn helps us understand the consequences of our actions and the natural laws of karma, time, and life. To solidify why these 6s seem like they are meant to be there in a way, let's take a look at the Gematria. Saturn equals 21 in the full reduction cipher. 21 has a mathematical relationship to the number 6, being that it's the 6th triangular number. But notice how the phrase 3rd eye chakra equals 73 in full reduction as well. For those not aware, 73 has the relationship to the number 21, being it's the 21st prime number. And as we just discussed, 21 is the 6th triangular number. This explains the connection between Saturn, the number 6, and its connection to the 6th chakra, numerically speaking. That being said, some say that Saturn is the god of the occultists, and history has even spoken on civilizations making sacrifices to the planet Saturn. Hell, until this very day, Christmas is actually just a disguise to celebrate the Roman god Saturn during the period of Saturnalia. So one must put 2 and 2 together and understand our emotional energy is being harvested, and the powers that shouldn't be worship a god, aka Saturn, bent on exerting its dominance, which in turn drains our energy. Now, regarding the word energy, since we're talking about energy harvesting, it's worth pointing out that it holds the value in Gematria of 38 in the full reduction cipher, this matching with the words Gematria and Kabbalah. And as a reminder, Gematria is a practice that stems from Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. Another component that is practiced within Kabbalah is the practice of energy healing, which is a topic for a whole nother video. However, what's fascinating is that the word healing on its own equals 38 in full reduction, just like the words energy in Kabbalah. Lastly, How could I talk this much about energy without mentioning a historic figure who worked very closely with energy? That man is none other than Nikola Tesla. Without going too deep into his story, according to the mainstream, Tesla's long-held dream was to create a source of inexhaustible clean energy that was free for everyone. He strongly opposed centralized coal-fired power stations that spewed carbon dioxide into the air that humans breathed. What Gematria puts into more perspective is the connection between Nikola Tesla and his love for energy. Notice Nikola Tesla's name holds the value of 38 in our full reduction cipher, this matching perfectly with his passion being energy. Energy equals 38 in the full reduction cipher. That being said, allow me to leave you with the words of Nikola Tesla himself, and he states, in quote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." But anyways, everybody, that's all I got for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this topic, as it's something different than what I usually talk about, but I thought it was very important to help make more clear the question that people were asking. But other than that, be sure to support your boy by liking, commenting, sharing, and most importantly, subscribing. Also, follow me on the gram at See Through the Script. Rest of my links are in the description below. Peace and love. I'm out.